The PlayStation Network's Golden Week sale is still going on. Originally, we thought it was gonna end on May 1st. However, it looks like it's been extended a week, so we're gonna upload yet another video going over it. But in this video, we want to take exclusive look at great games under the price of $10. There are so many games on sale that there are actually a lot of games under $10 that are absolutely worth your money. So without further ado, let's get right into this. First up, we've got Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition for $7.49. So this is a remastering of Devil May Cry 4, the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 title that was released back in 2008. It's on the PlayStation 4. You've got everything that you typically expect out of a remaster, but essentially expect a very similar experience. Now, Devil May Cry 4, the game itself is pretty good. I wouldn't say that it's the best DMC game, but it's very good in its own right, and comparatively speaking to, say, DMC 1, 2, or 3, it's visually at a far different level. So that's very nice, and with this game, you do have the regular Dante in there, so that's pretty cool, although you do play as both Dante and the other character, Nero. They're both pretty likable, although Nero sometimes will get on your nerves a little bit. But if you've yet to check out Devil May Cry 4 or you want to revisit the games, $7.49 definitely isn't a bad price for that. Next up, we've got FURI for $7.99, and FURI was a game that had a lot of attention surrounding it when it was originally released. I think at this point, a lot of gamers don't really talk about it much anymore, and that is kind of a shame because it is a really solid game. Now, what you have to know going into FURI is that this is a brutally difficult game, and that's probably one of the biggest drawbacks in the game. Yes, you could say that's just you being a pansy and not being good enough at games, but honestly, FURI is one of those games where the difficulty gets a little bit annoying at certain points, because it's not only the difficulty, its difficulty spikes on top of that, so that is really unfortunate. However, overall, the game is still pretty good. It's got a great look to it, and it blends a lot of different gameplay elements into one complete package, and for $7.99, not a bad pickup. Next up, we've got Guilty Gear Xrd Reveltor for $5.99. Now, Guilty Gear Xrd Reveltor is actually an older fighting game. At this point, we have the sequel to this title already out. However, if you want a very cheap fighting game experience, Guilty Gear has a long storied history behind it, and this one is a solid game. It runs at 60 frames per second. You've got over 20 characters. Very stylish fighting game. You just want a nice fighting game on the cheap? Hey, $5.99, that's a pretty good deal. Next up, Gravity Rush Remastered is available for $8.99. I always go to bat for Gravity Rush. You guys know how I feel about Gravity Rush 2, and yes, while that game is far better than the first title, Gravity Rush 2 is also a little bit more expensive, so why not start out with Gravity Rush Remastered? And even though GR2 is a lot better, the first game is still excellent. That's how strong this series is. And yes, it is a port of a PlayStation Vita title, but it makes a very smooth transition over to the PlayStation 4. Great controls, visually it is fantastic, and $8.99 is a bargain for this game. And if you're expecting to get Gravity Rush Remastered on the physical side of things, you might be disappointed. That version is really expensive now, so I would just recommend you to save your money and pick it up for $8.99. That's a great price. Next up, we've got a game that hardly anyone talks about, and that is ICEY for $7.49. Man, right away when you look at ICEY, it's hard not to be captivated by the game. It's just that not enough people have given this game the time of day and actually looked at it, but right away you are captivated by the incredible art style, and not only that, it's got some great gameplay, and the story is told in a very, very unique way. This is one of the better indie games that you're gonna come across, and at $7.49, it's a really solid pickup. Would highly recommend it. Next up, we've got a pretty good JRPG in Rainbow Moon for $4.50. Rainbow Moon was released on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita, but it came over to the PlayStation 4, and what you can get out of it is it's a pretty good tactical JRPG. You can't say more about it. It's not gonna blow your world away, but again, you're paying $4.50 for it. Mechanically, it's a well-designed game. There's a good amount of content in it for how cheap of a price it's coming at, and visually, it's pretty solid as well. Again, for $4.50, you really can't go wrong at that price. Next up, a game you'll hear me talk about quite a bit, Salt and Sanctuary, is down to $8.99. Now, Salt and Sanctuary is a game that many gamers would compare to Dark Souls, and just on the surface, when you look at Salt and Sanctuary, you probably can't see those comparisons at all, but then when you play the game and notice the punishingly difficult gameplay, the comparisons and similarities seem more and more evident. What's great about this game is that it is a 2D action RPG, so it's got a different feel to it, and it's very fast-paced. Mechanically, it's well developed, it's a lot of fun. However, bear in mind, yes, it is a very, very difficult game, but it's difficult in a way where it's understandable, unlike FURI, where the difficulty spikes became a detriment. With Salt and Sanctuary, it's just a difficult game, and that's to be expected when you go into the game. Next up, we have Shyness the Lightning Kingdom for $8.99. This is a game that shocks me in the fact that it didn't get more popular than when it did. Right away, when you look at the game, it's a very charming game, and I just thought it would have a certain allure to gamers of all age ranges, but unfortunately, the game isn't perfect in all regards. However, it is still a very enjoyable action RPG. It's got some good gameplay with some very dynamic fights where you have to mix magic with traditional fighting and martial arts mechanics, and it has traditional RPG mechanics. You gain experience, evolve your characters, learn new skills and spells, all that good stuff. I could see why you would have wanted to stay away from Shyness at full price, but now at $8.99, I think it's a really good pickup in a game that a lot of you guys probably missed out on. Next up, we've got Mega Man Legacy Collection for $5.99. Now, this is Mega Man Legacy Collection 1, so you don't get Mega Man 7, 8, 9, or 10, but you do get Mega Man 1 through 6, and this is gonna be right up the alley of those of you that are very nostalgic about the Mega Man games. I don't know if gamers that are of a younger demographic are gonna be super appealed by these games, especially because of the older art style, the older look that it's gotten going on for it, and because it is a very difficult and brutally punishing game. You really have to get your timing down with the older Mega Man games. If you want to get into Mega Man, you should know that the Mega Man X collection is coming out later this year. That's going to be a far more accessible experience than this original Mega Man Legacy collection. However, for those of you that want to play the older Mega Man games, hey, you get 6 of them, $5.99, $1 a piece, can't go wrong with that. And finally, we have Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life for just $5.99. Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life was a great game, and the port over to the PlayStation 4 wasn't absolutely perfect, but it fixes most of the lag from the original copy. It makes it more playable, you got trophy support, better resolution, better visuals, but some of the issues are still a little bit persistent. However, overall, if you want Harvest Moon on the PlayStation 4, this is your best option, and $5.99 for a pretty good Harvest Moon experience sounds good to me. That's gonna conclude this video. 10 awesome PlayStation 4 game deals available as a part of the Golden Week sale, all of these under $10. Some really solid deals. Highlights have to be Gravity Rush Remastered for $8.99. That game is just so great, and I will sing the praises of that series until the end. ICEY for $7.49 is really solid, and if you want Mega Man Legacy Collection for $5.99 ain't bad. So sound off with your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.